Did you know, Mark, your credit card points and miles can lose value to inflation? Credit card companies often reduce the redemption value of your points and miles. Now imagine a credit card with rewards that can grow in value.
That's right. With the Gemini credit card, you can earn Bitcoin or one of over 50 other cryptos instantly with no annual fee. Every swipe at the store or gas pump earns you instant rewards deposited straight into your account. Plus, sign up now for a $200 Bitcoin bonus to kickstart your rewards.
A Bitcoin bonus. That is what I need in my life. So I guess I have to visit Gemini.com/card today. If you're looking to invest in Bitcoin but don't know where to start, the Gemini credit card makes it easy.
Issued by WebBank. To qualify for the $200 crypto intro bonus, you must spend $3,000 in your first 90 days. Some exclusions to instant rewards apply. This is not investment advice, and trading crypto involves risk. Check Gemini's website for more details on rates and fees.
One of the most important swaps I've made is deodorant. It's something you use every single day and apply to a highly absorbent area. So what's in it really matters. Finding a natural deodorant that's actually clean and actually works can feel impossible. That's why I trust Primally Pure. Their non-toxic deodorants are made with simple, organic ingredients that are 100% natural and thoughtfully sourced, with thousands of 5-star reviews to back up the performance. Hot yoga, sauna sessions, long days on the go. It holds up when you need it most. Designed to work with your skin, not against it, this is clean care you can feel good about using every day. From deodorant to body, skin, baby, hair, and home, Primally Pure blends animal-based and plant-powered ingredients to support long-term skin health the way nature intended.
It's going to be a 42-yard field goal attempt from the right hash for the rookie Harrison Mevis. Out of the hold of Ethan Evans, here it comes to send the Rams to Seattle for the NFC Championship game. It's gone!
Heyo! Welcome to Heed the Call. Live immediately following an instant classic at Soldier Field in Chicago, where the Rams outlast the Bears. Just one of 4 games we're going to talk about here. Divisional round play did not disappoint, especially the opener and the closer. Marc Sessler, Conor Orr, Justin Graver on the 1s and 2s. Sessy, still crazy about this ball game all these years.
After all these years, and it was like the 2 pieces of bread around the sandwich were just beautiful pieces of bread.
I feel like they're the because the meat. It was the meat of the weekend, so it's almost like an inverse sandwich, where the boring ass bread was kind of in the middle. Now I'm overthinking.
Well, I know, because I was caught there too. Because I'm trying to describe the bread as the highlight, and there I'm in a trap.
Connor, get us out of this.
You guys are failing to recognize the power of the Big Mac, where the bread is in middle of the sandwich and is also a vital part of the entire orchestra. Yeah.
You ever think there's somebody out there that orders a Big Mac and is like, "Oh, I gotta watch my carbs," and they take out the little piece of bread in the middle? There's probably somebody out there.
There's probably someone. They're slightly a psychotic, but that's we embrace
Ben
them.
Johnson.
Hello to everyone in the live stream. We'll hit some of your comments later in the show. And the thing that I love about this time of year, both this weekend and then, of course, next weekend, and certainly the Super Bowl, but once you get into this stage of the season, these are the games that you remember, right? It's like community theater, not just here in America, but overseas. Shout out to everyone listening in different parts of the world right now. And that's what I was thinking, like when we talk about the reverse sandwich, that overtime between Buffalo and Denver, and then the play from Caleb Williams to set up overtime and the drama of all that. Like, these are plays that not only stick for the fan bases, forget about it. You'll know exactly where you were when the plays happen. But even just us as football fans, it's that type of theater that makes the product of the NFL. And sometimes, Ceci, we get on the NFL for certain elements of their business practices.
No,
but it's these type of weekends that remind us why we do the show and why there's so many people right now watching this live stream. We love it.
It's the NFL has an incredible ability to show up in the biggest moments. I will give it that over and over, because Chris Collinsworth and Connor pointed this out in text, called like 2 or 3 throws tonight, the throw of the year, but the Caleb Williams fourth and four pass to Cole Kmet, a 14-yard touchdown, which was actually like a 45-yard off the back foot falling away toss, was the throw of the year to me. It was beautiful, and it was kind of this like crowning moment in a game where they did not achieve the victory, but Caleb Williams like just looking so comfortable in the moment over and over tonight.
And that's the last point I want to get to before we get into that game, is that there's one thing about football and the NFL. It ain't romantic, right? You expect after a play like that the Bears go on and win the game, and they don't. You expect Josh Allen in this big stage this weekend to get the benefit of the call and to find a way to will his team past a really difficult opponent on their own. He didn't. The best team came out on top in all these matchups, and we're set for a great Final Four next week. Let's get into the game that just finished at Soldier Field, where the Rams and Bears, like I said, played a classic. Slobber knocker alert. It was cold. How cold was it? An absolutely insane pregame report in which it was explained to us that cayenne pepper was being put in some socks in an effort to keep players' feet warm. That's how chilly it was in Chicago. But to the credit of both teams, it didn't feel that way. The teams were able to move the ball, and we saw magic. We saw magic, especially, as Mark said, from Caleb Williams, who, with the entire Rams pass rush crashing in on him, backpedaling near midfield, throws off his back foot and somehow impossibly completes a touchdown pass to tie the game. But after the Rams and Bears trade punts in overtime, the Rams marched down the field. Some big-time throws from Matthew Stafford, who was allowed to make some big-time throws. I'm going to get on Sean McVay a little bit later, setting up the thicker kicker. And shout out to him. The thicker kicker pipes it. Harrison Mevis from 42 out. The Rams punched their ticket back to the NFC title game 20-17. Mark, I guess I'll start there because what preceded the miraculous touchdown pass from Caleb Williams that forced overtime was what I thought one of the more strange play calls of his entire career, Sean McVay. Okay, they have a 3rd and 10, the Rams, with 2:07 to play. They are on their own 14-yard line. The Bears have one timeout. A first down ends the game. And you know the team you're playing in the Chicago Bears has made a living of ripping teams' hearts out in the final minutes of a game. You don't want to set that thing up. And by the way, if you decide not to throw the ball and you run it into the line again, you're sending a punter out there. Special teams has killed you all year. And yet McVay runs the football. It doesn't even achieve the purpose of running down the clock because you hit the 2-minute warning. Would have hit that anyway had you thrown an incomplete pass and then punted it away. And you set the table for the Bears to do their Bears magic. So I thought that was a huge mistake by McVay, and he would be absolutely getting roasted for it if his team didn't step up in OT.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing where had the game turned out a little bit differently, we're focused on that, and Rams fans are focused on that. And the McVay questions about the occasional end-of-game management from years past come back into focus. But it doesn't turn out that way, and it fades into the distance. But I really much agree with you that like they set the table for a Bears team that's been the best second-half team in the league to create a dramatic come-from-behind scenario there. And so I agree. I thought that was a focal point.
I mean, I just don't know how McVay plays to his special teams in any way, shape, or form after the disaster that unit was all season. I mean, you fired your coach, you went through a second kicker, you're outdoors, you're in bad conditions. You know, you can't leave it to that. And it seemed like he was almost depending on stuff like this even throughout the game. And I know that there was, at least on paper, it looked balanced, but this was not a Rams game plan from McVay's bag that we were all expecting.
No, it wasn't. They weren't running the ball a lot early on. I thought they were conservative with play calling at times. They couldn't find a way to get Devontae Adams into the game. Even Puka Nacua finishing with 5 catches in this game. A lot of the stats out there make you think that the Rams aren't going to win this game. They couldn't get to Caleb Williams. Did they even finish with a sack in this game? I don't think they did. I mean, which is a credit to Caleb Williams and and the offensive line of the Bears, but also not what you expected. And when they finally did bring the heat, that big surge there at the end of the fourth quarter, Caleb Williams makes the throw of his life. So a lot of things didn't go the Rams' way, and them finding a way. And it's going to be a tall task, Mark, obviously, next week at Seattle, the way the Seahawks are playing. But this was like the type of gut check win that you can go to Seattle and be like, man, we've been through the wars now leading up to the NFC title game. It's just a gutty win by the Rams.
Yeah, I think to get away from what the Rams have been, while that's an annoyance tonight, that's probably not going to be the case in Seattle in a different weather environment. But they did tonight. Like they really, I thought they were going to lean so heavily on the run game, and they really didn't early on. It came through in the end, but it was a Rams effort that kind of left me with questions of what was the plan here and why did you wind up in this situation? I also just wonder during a game like this when it's like butt freezing and people are like not operating the way you want and your special teams is questionable, like do you have to just change the way that you do things in the middle of the game? But this was not a Rams game plan that I recognized.
And even like it took them a long time to adjust to even like a lot of cutback runs from the Bears. And it was only in the fourth quarter and in overtime where I saw them have another guy to defend the backside and just not get gouged by Swift coming back the other way. Where are those adjustments right after halftime? Where are those adjustments early in the third quarter? And it just, I don't know. There's a couple of those things throughout the night that just seemed like they were just slow to get into it a little bit.
On the Bears side, first of all, I got to give the Bears credit. They gave us great theater this year. I know people in Chicago are super bummed right now. You thought maybe this was a fairy tale team that could go all the way, but getting this far with this team, considering how many things had to go your way, how many plays they had to make at the end of these games, and they did it every single time, including this game until the throw that Caleb Williams, I imagine, will be thinking about for the entire winter near midfield on the first Chicago possession of overtime. He targets DJ Moore. Collinsworth kind of got on Moore a little bit for not finishing the route or continuing to proceed towards the sideline and hoping he was going to lay out. It doesn't work out that way. It's the third interception Caleb Williams throws. And, you know, it's hard to, for me to praise a quarterback who throws 3 picks in the divisional playoffs, including the one in overtime to set up the score. But I thought the game-winning score. I thought that Williams was really impressive for in a lot of moments in this game. I thought the Bears played a really gutty game here. I thought they're considering what the Rams have at their disposal, what the offensive line was able to do to keep Caleb Williams clean, what their defense was able, what their secondary was able to do. This isn't like an all-pro, studs everywhere secondary, and yet Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams mostly erased in this game. Connor, what did you see that Chicago did that allowed them to hold off that ferocious LA pass rush and keep the Rams working their ass off to the very last play?
What was really interesting, it was almost like the inverse of the way that the Patriots played the Rams in that 2018 Super Bowl, where they were getting rid of the ball and they were playing it laterally to kind of run Aaron Donald back and forth. It was almost like Caleb Williams was doing that to the Rams just by himself. He spent so much time in the pocket going east and west, and you could see Kobe Turner and how hard he was breathing, chasing after him. And then when you follow one of those long Caleb Williams dropbacks with a run play, they're so gassed that they're not going to be able to stop that and stand in the way of something like that. They don't want to tackle it. And so Caleb Williams is this one-man machine but it's interesting because you mentioned the story-like nature of this, and we forgot the red herring that was placed in the back of our minds at the beginning of the season, which is the theatrical Caleb Williams interception. That was a storyline for the first 4 weeks of the year, and then it comes right back at the playoffs and hits at the perfect moment. It was pitch perfect.
I thought they have Joe Thuney playing tackle tonight, and you are right, Dan. The Rams produced 0 takedowns, 0 sacks, and it was a pretty phenomenal effort by the Bears line, by that entire outfit. And then their defense, too, just the Rams punted 245 times in this game. The Bears defense showed up. It absolutely showed up. And so it's I don't know what else you'd ask from the Bears, because this kind of was every Bears game that we've seen. And I came out of it feeling interception count aside, Caleb Williams just felt at home to me. This was a game where Caleb Williams was I'm ready for this and I can do it. And there was an ease to his motion and to his decision-making besides a couple of mistakes that made me feel really good coming out of this as a Bears fan. But it is the kind of team where it's these teams don't get the late game fortune and luck from year to year. That is a one season type thing, but that happened tonight almost, and then it didn't happen.
Can I ask you a question? Because I agree with what you're saying. I feel the same way. Like, I feel like the Bears are in good hands with
Well, you can
Caleb.
always ask me a question. This is it's our show. And,
Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
But he did, his throw ostensibly led to the end of their season. So it wasn't a perfect performance.
Right.
I'm wondering what Ben Johnson thinks, because Ben Johnson, we know we celebrated him as a maniac, and because we're going live right now, we don't have any of sound from this game. Maybe we'll get something a little bit later, but I imagine somebody's going to ask Ben Johnson after you score the miracle touchdown on 4th down with 15 seconds to go. You didn't have a 2-point play in your head? Like, you're Ben Johnson? You're the genius in the laboratory?
Home.
You did at home. You had the chance to steal a game for the ages and win 18-17 in this spot. Instead, he sent out his kicker, who, by the way, again, if we're going to get on Sean McVay a little bit for playing it safe and then sending his punter out, who shanks one to set up the tying touchdown, you're in a position where you can call any play you want. You could win it, and you got to trust your offense and your mind in that spot. I was surprised he didn't go for it. It happened earlier in the weekend. We talked about it, I think, on text. Like, you never want to do the thing that the other team wants you to do, right? You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to make the choice that the other team is hoping that you make. And I think that's what the Rams got there, and it ended up bailing out the Rams potentially because they got the chance to win in overtime.
They feel like the right team to go do that, to go for the 2-point. But
isn't that everything in their DNA and their whole
it
season?
does,
Maybe that's why their season's over, because they were the cardiac Bears. You got to go for 2. They didn't do it.
It would launch, Connor, like 275,000 think pieces if they don't get it, though, right? Most
Would
written
it
by
though?
Troy
Would
Aikman.
would anybody come out of it saying, I can't believe the Bears made such a terrible decision there? It's just a matter
don't
of, do
think
you
so.
have the
Not a
onions
decision.
to call the play that you feel like is going to win you a spot in the NFL's Final Four? And Ben Johnson, maybe in like the biggest stage of his life, blinked there as well.
There was help me out here, because there was a short yardage situation earlier in the game where he put Luther Burden in at running back and then just did the quick little cross route, and that got broken up or intercepted right there, the same distance where a 2-point play would have happened. I wonder if he just got spooked and he just had a little bit of respect for the Rams' short yardage defense there.
I'll throw one more out there, one more theory. Sessler. I know you've had a man chub for this guy for the last couple of weeks. Colston Loveland was banged up in this game.
Yeah.
He's on the sideline. If Loveland is on the field and Ben Johnson has a play call cooked up around that very talented young tight end who set a receiving record in this game for rookies, maybe. But they didn't. But you know what I did? I locked up the Los Angeles Rams and went back to the future.
I got to give you credit. This of all the games to lock, this felt wild to me. You got 2. I didn't realize.
Listen, we're gonna give you your flowers too, Sessler. About your
we
lock.
are.
Talk about onions.
And so this was a huge one. I think this puts me in the driver's seat with 2 weeks to play now. But you can imagine what was happening in Zuzzer Manor when Caleb Williams threw that touchdown pass. Maron. I wasn't happy. But I also I was thinking to myself, I was big mad, and I'm like, all right, good. So you can actually be you could have this level of passion about a game that doesn't involve your team, because your team actually doesn't exist in the NFL at large anymore.
That's
Any
a good
other
heat
thoughts
check
on this
for you.
game? Yeah, big one.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on this game, gang?
I don't know, the Rams, man. I want to see. I think it's going to be a fascinating week of preparation. To this whole NFC West is wild, but to see the Rams try to encounter Seattle and solve that defense, and we'll get into Seattle. But it's like this is. I do think the 2 best teams in the NFC are meeting in the NFC title game.
I do feel like kind of dumb perpetuating the Sean McVay was holding on to something narrative when it's just really they're just running on crumbs at this point, and it's just who can survive longer doing it at this point in the season.
All right. There we go. We're 1 game in. Do we want to hear our buddy JB Long's call? of the game winner?
Absolutely.
Is that what we have,
Hell
Gravy?
Yeah.
Yes, that's what we have. Hello.
Thank you, Justin. Old buddy JB Long, the voice of the Los Angeles Rams, calls the thick. Is he gonna? All right, let's do a little game. Will he say thicker kicker during the call?
No, I think he goes
No.
name.
No.
I think he has too much respect for.
Out of respect. I think
Like
he
how
goes name.
Lizzo was fraudulent about body positivity. I think JB Long will be completely setting aside the figure of Harrison Mevis.
That feels like JB.
Let's check it out.
Will Ben Johnson use a timeout here? It's going to be a 42-yard field goal attempt from the right hash for the rookie Harrison Mevis. Out of the hold of Ethan Evans, here it comes to send the Rams to Seattle for the NFC Championship game. It's good! The Rams win it 20-17 in overtime.
Great call by JB
Nice.
in a big spot. ESPN LA 710. We've talked
JB's
with
like,
JB.
I get to work for another week versus I was, we had a vacation to go to Mount Snow.
JB, sound off if you're like Mark and you were secretly bummed the kick went through the upright because you just wanted to not work. Let us know. All right. ESPN LA 710 with the call. Let's take a break and move on to another classic. Oh, Sassy. Whenever I'm traveling with other people, I almost always book a stay at Airbnb because it just makes the whole trip better. Recently, I took a trip with the family, and instead of squeezing into a hotel or, asking relatives to put us up, we stayed in a home listed on Airbnb right in a local neighborhood. We had actual space, multiple bedrooms, a living room to hang out in, a full kitchen where we made breakfast together before heading out for our day. We also had the kids. But with Airbnb, the kids' bedtime doesn't have to be your bedtime.
And Dan, that's the big difference for me. When you book with Airbnb, you're not just sleeping somewhere, you're staying somewhere. You get more privacy, more room, and a place that feels lived in.
And Mark, don't forget the other plus of being in a neighborhood instead of a tourist zone. It makes the trip feel more authentic, like we were getting a real sense of the city. We even booked a guest favorite, which are the most loved homes on Airbnb, and marked with a badge for their top ratings. And it completely lived up to that status. Everyone could relax, spread out, and actually enjoy the trip.
Yeah, totally, Dan. So whether it's friends, family, or a group getaway, having a home-like place just makes everything easier and a lot more memorable.
Book your next stay with Airbnb.
Hey, I'm Bubba Wallace from 2311 Racing.
And I'm Tyler Reddick.
At Chumba Casino and 2311, we've all been waiting for the big American race.
I know you can't wait for it, too.
And there's nothing better to do while you're waiting than playing Chumba Casino.
Sign up today and you could win a VIP experience with Chumba and 2311 for the big American race.
So what are you waiting for?
Play Chumba Casino and enter to win. Let's Chumba.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
All right, we are back. By the way, before we get to the next game, I got to give a shout out. Listen, I'm not from the Midwest. None of us are. I don't know who Jim Cornelison is. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing his last name right. I apologize.
We don't know.
But this man, can we play a portion of the national anthem that was sung before Bears Rams today? Just
This got you
unbelievable.
riled up.
Put hair on my chest. Check it out. Men are back. Whatever happened to Gary Cooper? He was at Soldier Field.
I mean, it was good. There was like when on these Sundays, Connor knows this. Like you'll look at your phone after like a 3-minute break, and there's like 18 text messages, and Dan has gone off on this singer. He's feeling his Americana
Mark, those are texts of Justin and I planning the show also that you're missing.
I do. I miss them all. So I'll be more aware.
But I have to say, like, and let's try to separate. I'm sure in the comment section, it's a bunch of British. Yeah, but what about your country? It's terrible. Listen, I'm not talking about domestic policy, foreign policy right now. I'm talking about Jim Coral Nelson hammering that.
Yeah.
In a big spot.
I'm not going to take away from it. I think he was aided by. I'll just say one thing.
Please say he was aided by PEDs on that.
I think he was aided by the aesthetic, right? There was the snow kind of whipping and the atmosphere, and so it was a little bit like being on stage at Woodstock. Like where you are, I think played a big part in it too. So.
You wouldn't argue that he has the ability to sing.
No,
though,
you know
Connor.
what, Mark? Only Connor would use that to like ding the man, like as if that was just like no. He was feeding into the moment.
Like if he's doing that on Sepulveda Boulevard, you're both like, that's weird, right? And you just kind of walk by. You're not going to throw him a dollar.
Well, is he wearing pants if he's doing it on Sepulveda? That's
Probably
a good
not.
question. All right, let's move on. Let's head to Mile High, where we had, yes, another classic on Divisional Round weekend.
What's to send the Broncos to the AFC Championship game? Here's the snap, the spot, the kick is up, it is good, and the Broncos win in overtime. Denver 33, Buffalo 30, and for the first time in a decade, the Denver Broncos are back in the AFC Championship game.
Ryan Ratke, Westwood One Radio with the call. Yes, another OT classic. Back and forth they went. The Broncos jump out to a 23-10 lead, but Josh Allen and the Bills do what they do. They are the Cardiac Bears. There's the Cardiac Bills as well. They march all the way back. They take a lead late, but the defense can't hold it. Bo Nix, his final touchdown pass of the year, as it turns out, in a game in which he broke his ankle, puts the Broncos ahead in the final minutes. The Bills get a 50-yard field goal from Matt Prater, showing onions to push it to overtime. And then after a lot of controversy involving the officiating, multiple calls that went Denver's way, the Broncos get the field goal to clinch a 33-30 win, and they advance to the AFC title game to face, yes, the New England Patriots. Spoiler alert. Connor, where do you want to start with this one? Do we want to start with the Knicks injury? Do we want to start with the controversy of overtime? Take us away.
I mean, we have a sitting NFL head coach calling the Buffalo News on an airplane to rant about officiating. And this is Sean McDermott. This is one of the tightest coaches in terms of criticizing officials in the NFL. He reached his breaking point in a major way, and I think that that's absolutely the place you start because the explanation gets crazier the more that you dig into it. And we saw plays identical to that later in the weekend that were called differently, which is just insane. Yeah.
We're referring to, of course, the play in overtime. The Bills are facing 3rd and long. A field goal wins the game. Josh Allen drops back, airs it out to Brandon Cooks, who appears to come down with the ball. His knee touches down with possession as McMillan from Denver gets his hands away, snatches the ball away from Cooks, rolls over, and they award the Broncos with the interception. You know what play came to mind for me? Remember that Aaron Rodgers play from a few weeks back where the ball got batted in the air, and then 2 players came down. Rodgers had it. And in that case, they reversed an interception to a catch for Rodgers that allowed the Steelers to hold on and win that game. I know it was a different part of the field and all that, but a similar sentiment where the offensive player has the ball as his knee touches down, it gets taken away. In this case, we get a different ruling and one that has the effect of potentially deciding a Super Bowl and a champion in this league. Here is Sean McDermott before he gets on the phone from an airplane. This is McDermott at the podium, and he was obviously salty.
It's hard for me to, and I've had a chance to look at it, it's hard for me to understand why it was ruled the way it was ruled. And if it is ruled that way, then why wasn't it slowed down? Just to make sure that we have this right. That would have made a lot of sense to me, to make sure that we have this thing right, because that That's a pivotal play in the game. We have the ball at the 20, maybe kicking a game-winning field goal right there. So I'll just leave it at that. But I'm saying it because I'm standing up for Buffalo. Damn it, I'm standing up for us. Because what went on is not how it should go down, in my estimation. That play, these guys spent 3 hours out there playing football, pouring their guts out, to not even say, hey, let's just slow this thing down. That's why I'm bothered.
And I get everything McDermott's saying. Me personally, I thought it should have been ruled a catch, but I understand this is one of those things where it's not like the did Dez catch it game from 12 years ago or whatever, where everyone kind of agreed with one thing for the most part, except for the team that benefited from the call there. This one, you can make a case on either side. But the one thing that I think even a Broncos fan, maybe not a Broncos fan, but a sane-minded Broncos fan will acknowledge, why are we not stopping the game and really looking at this play? And someone associated with the NFL came out and said the reason they did that is they wanted to keep the game moving. And it's like, listen, buddy, like, we all want to keep the games moving, but this literally decides one of the great NFL games of the last 10 years. If the Bills get credited with a catch there, they can kick a field goal to win the game. And an interception obviously turns the ball over. And guess what? The Broncos go down the field and win the game with a field goal there. So how come they didn't look at it? How come they didn't just, instead of doing we check real quick, how come they didn't stop this game down and be 100% sure? I don't get that. That's a bad look for NFL.
Right, because I think that is creating we all woke up this morning, you're looking on Twitter, you're just reading anything, you're talking to your friends, you're on text threads. The firestorm was the rapid nature with how they ripped through it. I would have said that what you don't want to do is keep the game moving to the oblivion of one team's season. I come out of it because we didn't really, the three of us and Justin as well, discuss where we fell on this. I'm okay with it being an interception, all right? Like, I kind of get it. Although I grew up, the first play that I really remember as a rules-type play early on was a Monday night game where Ozzie Newsome came down in, wrapped with a defender, and they both caught the ball in the end zone. And it was ruled a Ozzie Newsome touchdown because an offensive player always is ruled to get the ball in that situation, in theory. This looked a little different, but I think what you come out with is I don't care if it looked different. It feels like in another game in Week 8 at 1 p.m. Eastern, it would have been called differently. We have no faith that this exact play will be called the same way the next day, the next week, the next year. And I get that Terry McAuley and Gene Steratore are coming out and saying, I would have called it an interception too. That's nice, and everyone can look at it in hindsight and say that.
Each other's backs, on that.
They've got each other's backs to some degree. I think they believe that, but I also think that then it's not consistently called the next time it happens. And that's where the outrage comes from. It's suddenly called now in the biggest spot for the Bills and the Broncos, of the entire season, differently than it might have been 2 months ago. Blow my mind up.
My thought is, and it's I guess it's a little bit okay, if you play Stairway to Heaven backwards, it'll tell you to assassinate the prime minister or whatever. But it's one of those things where us having access to slow motion and super slow motion and super slow motion, you could watch that play at 5 different speeds, and I feel come to a couple different conclusions. And that's where I think the 4K nature of it, all of the tools at our disposal, it does impact the way that we see a game. And if you take it back to full speed, you can kind of understand where the official is going on that.
Yeah, I think this is where it's confusing because he does have the ball initially. As he's coming down, his knee is down and he has the ball. And I thought the NFL, I knew is that hands on the ball, possession, knee down, doesn't matter what happens after that. And Conor, you said earlier, there are multiple instances after this game this weekend where a similar situation played out and the offensive team kept it. So it's just it's one of those things with the Bills and just the Greek tragedy of it all. You just think they're never going to get over the hump, and then you have things like this happen, and it's sad. I even as an AFC East fan, fan that's not a Bills fan, you kind of want to see just one of these years Allen break through. Not everybody wants to see that. I would have liked to see his season go on. But I also have to admit, and we're going to get to the Broncos and their role in this, of course, that Josh Allen didn't play good enough in this game. Like, Josh Allen had an opportunity of a lifetime here. The Broncos were there for the taking, and Allen didn't play nearly a clean enough game. 2 interceptions, 2 fumbles, that absolute atrocity at the end of the first half where he loses a fumble that leads to 7 points, and this is not just Allen's fault, it's also McDermott's fault, deciding to try to get 3 points in the last 15 seconds without a timeout, leading to the fumble that ends with the 50-yard field goal at the gun. That's a 10-point swing, and Allen was prominently involved with all of that. So as much as I want to say, oh, it's so sad and what a tragedy, Josh Allen once again, and the officials screwed him, he plays a cleaner game. Buffalo plays a cleaner game, and their season is still alive.
I do think there's an element of why it's like the he doth protest too much thing with McDermott, where you're using that to kind of cover up the fact that this was a bad performance by your quarterback. It was maybe not your best defensive performance of the season, and those things matter in a big moment.
Here is Josh Allen after the game, very emotional.
It's extremely difficult. I feel like I let my teammates down tonight.
And then Deion Dawkins, his longtime tackle, had those comments relayed to him in the Bills locker room, and yes, more emotion. I mean, this is theater, guys.
He let us down.
Thanks, Deion. Yeah, I mean,
crazy.
It is. My voice is going away.
Mark's emotional too.
Yeah, I am emotional. Like, I think we see the Bills nationally different than we might other teams. Like, there's something about Buffalo, the fact that if you started the NFL today from scratch from 32 cities, Buffalo wouldn't even be considered. And they're here and they feel kind of not quaint, but kind of homey and beautiful for that reason. And Josh Allen plays into that, and we can look past the mistakes he made. I can't, though. I can't. Like, I get the emotion. I get him wanting to have done this so badly and how much it might hurt. And I see that with honor in him. But this was Josh Allen's moment to shine and to put a Bills offense over the top in an unfriendly environment. And after, how many years in a row is this going to happen? I'm not trying to sound like some talking head on this one. I just felt like there was this outpouring of, like, NFL.com put out a "you have to feel bad for this guy" tweet with Josh Allen. I don't see that for any other quarterback. So I'm saying that dynamic, I kind of understand why they're saying that or why people feel that way about him versus other quarterbacks, but he had his chance. He was here. Other quarterbacks weren't. And he played one of his worst games in terms of the turnover. We talked about the Bills. The only way you're going to beat the Bills, I thought, in this situation, because they were road warriors, was to get Josh Allen to have one of those games where he cannot protect the football. And it happened by a very good defense. And the Broncos win the game and are the automatic, immediate B storyline because of Josh Allen.
We're going to get to it with Stroud, too, but I feel like we're missing the big story in this playoffs, right? I mean, average quarterback rating is down. Attempts are down. Yards per game are down. Net yards per attempt are down. We're in a defensive counter-evolution period in the NFL. Defenses are winning. 5 of the 8, I think, coaches that were remaining in this were defensive head coaches, plus Vance Joseph, who's probably going to get a head coaching job. We're just in a period of time where quarterbacks are just in a blender. This is like when Shanahan and McVay came in, figured out a defense's rules, and flipped the NFL on its side. Defensive coordinators came back. They were in the lab too. They were trying to save their butts all along. And so we're living through this moment. And we try to make it this grand thing where it's like, oh, Stroud can't do this, or Allen can't do that, or never, never, never. It's like the dead ball era. Like, sometimes you just run into an unfortunate period of time and you can still be a good quarterback playing in just the dead ball era. It's the defensive era now.
I agree with you, but Allen entered this game on a historic run in terms of a quarterback protecting the football in the postseason. I think it was 6 or 7 straight games without a turnover. And I think that's what I was saying at the top of the show. it ain't romantic like the NFL. Like in another world, Allen continues that, and he takes this and he runs all the way to San Francisco, and he's the hero. But that ball protection combined with the dynamic abilities that he's been showcasing, he didn't bring it all, and he pressed a little bit. Mike Silver wrote a good piece, our old NFL media buddy. By the way, that NFL.com article would have never been written if we were still over there, but that's beside the point. Mike Silver wrote a good article about the Bills, and it was just like, how the Bills are doing this, to your point, Mark, it's just not working. And how do they change it? Okay, now are you going to change the coach? Probably not. Are you going to fire the GM? Probably not. Are you going to get rid of the quarterback? Of course not. But it's time to stop putting the Bills in this situation where the only way they will finally get over the hump is if Josh Allen goes on an absolute superhero bender, because that's what every year has turned into for Buffalo. The Broncos, let's talk about it, because on the second to last play of overtime, and I should mention, not to get totally lost in the sauce here, that the Broncos got 45 yards, I believe, in penalty yards on 2 pass interference calls after the controversial interception that set up the chip shot field goal. The second interference I thought was pretty blatant. It was a good call. The first one felt ticky-tack. But
the second one also had like a roughing the passer call attached to it as well. So
right,
I know
which was
people
a legit
kind of
roughing the
forgetting about
passer
that
call on Joey Bosa. The Bills, by that point, they made their bed at that point. But on the second to last play, before they kicked the field goal, Bo Nix gets brought down to the ground, injures his ankle, limps off. They win the game. He does his media. Sean Payton does his media and then comes out for the ultra rare second presser and announces that Bo Nix had broken his ankle and will be getting surgery on Tuesday and is out, obviously, for the rest of the playoffs, meaning Jarrett Stidham and this blessed New England Patriots season, by the way. Now the Patriots will go to Mile High and face Stidham, who hasn't thrown a pass in the NFL in regulation in over 2 years. Here was Peyton after the devastating news about his quarterback.
You know, we celebrate the season for him, and listen, this city's ready, and we'll be ready for the next challenge.
This feels like Connor. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like Connor's Stidham fever is going to rise as the week goes on because this is the kind of story he loves. But I will say, like, it was what's lost a little bit because of the injury, and it was shocking because there's visuals of him kind of waltzing around on the field, congratulating teammates and hugging opponents after the game without looking like he broke his ankle.
Adrenaline, man.
Yeah, I know, and it's like I mean that's we've read it all at this point, but he threw the ball 46 times, 3 touchdowns, and ran the ball 12. Like I thought it was a Bo Nix game where they're like, we are giving this to you to take us there, and he took you there, and he's gone. But Connor, I know that you probably have a Jarrett Stidham fascination building up in your little...
I kind of love Stidham myself. I still remember the game when he was at the Raiders.
Yes,
that led to Sean Payton being like, I'm laser locking on him as Russell Wilson's backup.
Payton loves him.
And then he's basically gone into hibernation until this moment. And I was talking, I have my crazy Broncos friend here in my town drives around a orange cart with the Broncos
Crazy
sticker,
is not overstating it.
Naming his children after the city and the team and putting up the sign of the Little League field. Love you, Scott. Shout out. I was saying to him, like, I do trust Sean Payton. We have time to talk about this, but he gets a week with Stidham to cook up a game plan to protect this guy, to make certain plays. And I would not rule out this Broncos team because as much as we want to give credit to all these other teams, and I'm talking about this podcast too, Sessler, they are the team of HTC, and they have shown so much resilience this year, including almost blowing this game then Bo Nix leading this team down the field at the end of regulation to once again stave off a crushing defeat. We'll see, Connor, how they respond against the Patriots that are playing extremely well. But, man, this Broncos team is not to be disregarded just because they lost the quarterback.
I totally agree, and I mentioned this on our text thread, the possibility that Sean Payton coaches a backup quarterback to a Super Bowl victory, thus entrenching him as quite possibly the greatest quarterback whisperer of our generation is a tough beat for me after last week's episode and the reveal of my Sean Payton story. So I'm sweating this one out. This is gonna be a tough couple weeks here.
If you look at what he did with backups with the Saints or
Teddy Bridgewater,
level 2, level 3 type quarterbacks, like I agree with you. Like I just am trying not to get swept up in it, but like Jeff Hostetler was one of the greatest sports moments and kind of fever dreams that I watched. That was different timing than this. It happened earlier in the year, but like there aren't a lot of things you can point to NFL wise. Like I think that there's a record of like 8 quarterbacks that started a playoff game as like their first start of the season, and they're 1-7.
How about our friend Nick Foles, Marc Sessler? Now, not exactly apples to apples, but Nick Foles replaced Carson Wentz and led the Eagles to their first Super Bowl championship, and he chimed in on the old social media.
There we go.
Note for the Broncos and their fans, I know it's been an emotional 24 hours. I feel for Bo and the team, and I'm sending prayers for a strong recovery. A positive note going into the game versus the Patriots is that they struggle against backup QBs in championship-type games. Bunsen burner, blowtorch from Big Dick Nick.
He needed an editor on that tweet to get rid of like 2 words, and it would have been comedically perfect. Like if he just sent it like maybe not me. I'm not saying me, someone else.
Somebody.
It was so close.
All right. By the way, I want to hold this up. This was a gift.
Hello.
That's not Nick Foles.
This was a gift that Santa brought and was left in a stocking. It's called the Mystic Pickle, and it's essentially an updated version of the Magic 8-Ball, and it will tell you what you need to know. I think we should use a Mystic Pickle in the NFL to decide what's a catch and what's not. So let's ask the Mystic Pickle right now. Mystic Pickle. Did Brandon Cooks catch the ball?
There's really no easy way to say this. No.
Okay. Mystic Pickle has decided it. And congratulations. There's no longer any controversy. It's not that hard.
No,
just get a
Gene
Mystic Pickle.
Steratore and Mystic Pickle are on the same page. So,
all right, let's move to New England. Oh, who had it?
Not so fast, Dan. I double locked this one, baby. The only Bo Lever on this show. Everyone else here picking the Bills. I even said I don't have a ton of faith in Denver, but if you're all going to go against them...
Say less, Justin.
I'm going to pick them! And it was definitely an interception. Come on.
I was stating to Justin yesterday on text that he had horrendously botched his strategy here. Because what he needed to do was do his Back to the Future double lock against Mark or I, who were leading in the clubhouse. That way he could make up 3 games for sure, right? And since he didn't do that and I won this week, Justin is now eliminated from the competition. So,
but if I had done that, you both, spoiler alert, I would have lost my lock. And this way, at the very least, I'm, positioned to not finish in last place.
Oh, I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to send somebody else to last place.
You dick. I knew there was something
are you,
to this.
Justin, do you walk into an area Taco Bell and let them know that you came in 3rd in the lock standings on your podcast? What does that get you?
Not Taco Bell. Maybe like Raising Cane's or something, but not Taco Bell. But yeah, I will tell people for sure.
Give me that. I would take a bath in that Raising Cane's sauce, the dipping sauce. Maroon.
We got a pickle. Yeah.
With the pickle. A little private time. All right, let's move to New England, where the Patriots continue to thrive.
C.J. Stroud in a tight formation, 2x2. Single back is Chubb. Play fake. Bootleg to the near side. Receiver fell down, and Stroud throws it up in the air. Intercepted Marcus Jones. Right 20, 15, 10. Jones is tackled by Hutchinson. Takes him to the pylon. Touchdown! Patriots!
Look at it. It's nuts again. They're going nuts. And you gotta love it.
Listen, it's good to have him back. I got to be real. Bob Sochi and Scott Zolak with the call for 98.5, the Sports Hub. The New England Patriots. They faced a huge task in the divisional round, facing a Texans defense that looked like it was about to make a historic run through the NFL playoffs, and yet the Patriots the Patriots play better defense than the Texans. And C.J. Stroud completely melts down in a game that could change the trajectory of his career in Houston. Final score 28-16. The Patriots are back in the AFC title game where they will get, yes, a backup quarterback. And I'll start here, Mark. You know, the Eagles, I threw a little celebration party. Would I have been cool with the Patriots as a Jets fan being out of this? Yeah, it would have been cool. But I can't hate this Patriots team. I can't hate them. They play the game so well. They are so well coached. Everything they do in terms of, and I know they were a little sloppy with turnovers. It was a very messy game. Turnovers like crazy in this game. But you know they're always going to be the team that makes the tackle, falls on the football, gets their feet down. They handle their business so well. And I think what a lot of people, myself included, maybe slept on was that even though they played so many tomato cans during the season, they were so prepared for this moment because they're just such a well-oiled machine that they were going to be more prepared and play at a higher level than the Texans in this game. And they send home a Houston defense, which is an all-time unit in the last 25 years.
Yes, and they were able to overcome their own quarterback's up and down nature during this game. Drake May was far from perfect, but he had his moments. I thought that I came away with the same feeling that Mike Vrabel has produced a team that did not shrink in moments like this, that we haven't seen them in moments like this. And it's like, this is the week they'll be taken care of. They had a really good plan for the Texans offense, which was the weakness here. I thought their safeties kept explosive plays away. No Nico Collins mattered a lot for the Texans, but when your quarterback for Houston is going to melt down this way, 2 games in a row in the playoffs, you have to take the opportunities you get from it, and the Patriots did just enough to get out of here. I mean, it was a complete quarterback meltdown by C.J. Stroud.
The Patriots' defense forced 5 turnovers, intercepting C.J. Stroud 4 times, all in the first half, by the way. 4 interceptions.
You could see it on his eyes,
half.
too, right?
He had it in his eyes, and you could tell he was scattered. And I thought the telecast did not do a great job, at least broaching the idea of will D'Amico Ryans make a change at halftime, because we still think that C.J. Stroud obviously is the future of this team. We assume that. But at the same time, you're trying to win a game, and sometimes it's not a quarterback's day. Do you think that Stroud should have gotten the hook in this game, Connor?
Well, it's interesting. It's a callback to a very not listened to crossover episode of the MMQB pod before the season, where me and Gravy talked about the fact that Stroud could be such a choke artist that he might not get re-signed to a long-term contract. So I don't know. Go back and rewind that one. But I don't think as much blame. So I think it's a myriad factors here, right? It's a bad weather game, and I thought that Houston's run game was so awful that their early down run EPA was worse than Stroud's, despite the fact that Stroud threw 4 interceptions, and it was 14 carries for 17 yards for Woody Marks. If you're in a snow game or a sleet game or whatever you want to call that weather, and you're constantly in 3rd and 8, against a Vrabel defense like that, that's going to be able to shapeshift, and they did a lot of that. They dropped like 8 into coverage. They kind of spoofed a little bit who they were sending, and that's kind of an Achilles heel for Stroud. But the Texans kept putting him in that position. There was no complementary run game. And if you're Nick Caley, you know Mike Vrabel. You know his tendencies. You coached with him for years. You were the tight ends coach of the Patriots for like a decade. You have to figure out a better way to get the running game going there.
And you know what? I just want to circle back real quick. Like, I was getting pretty fired up about the Buck and Aikman not talking about making a change, and then I saw Ryan Clark agreeing with me at halftime, and I was like, all right, I better dial this one back, take a deep breath. And I said, all right, you know what the right move is here? He's C.J. Stroud. You believe in him. At least give him a look coming out of the tunnel in that first possession of the third quarter and see if you can get something going. And sure enough, they do kick a field goal there. And to the credit of Houston's defense, which is the one thing I will not hear anything about the Texans defense not showing up in this game. I know they gave up 21 points. Stroud threw an insane pick 6 in this game, but they kept the Texans alive. I think there were 4 turnovers, Mark, that Stroud had that the Texans defense immediately either got the ball back or forced a punt. giving them a chance to get back into this game. And the only time when they really looked cooked was in the last Patriots touchdown of the game, where clearly this is a Houston defense that was on the field so long because of the ineptitude of Stroud in the running game that they finally wore out. But they got after Drake May. They hit him constantly. Drake May fumbled a bunch of times in this game, was very lucky to get a couple of them back. So the Texans defense did their job. They just needed a quarterback. And I think this is the question that is facing the Texans front office now. We know we have a defense that is special, and we thought we had a quarterback who we could pair with that defense. But I don't know if you're so sure anymore. So I think, again, you don't want to fall into the Tua trap. The last thing I would do is give C.J. Stroud a big contract after the last 2 weeks.
No, you're right, because their defense, and you wonder about locker rooms like this. It's not so much now with the season ending and everyone's departing, but of those 4 picks, one was a pick six. There was they generated a fumble, a Patriots fumble, and 2 punts off the other 3 interceptions. So they saved the mistakes of C.J. Stroud, and they did that against the Steelers. That score looked different than that game really was because of a late game surge by that defense, and they did it again today, and they caused a lot of problems for Drake May and generated turnovers of their own. So I guess you're right. I mean, I don't think you want to go into the offseason having benched Stroud in a playoff game, in the sense that, I don't think the backup is really that much better. And you create 1,000 articles and conversations online and on radio about what to do at quarterback. They still have them.
I agree with that, but you're also the same thing that we saw. I'm sure they saw that how scatterbrained he looked, and he clearly was frazzled in that game. And you're trying to get to the AFC Championship game. Here's DeMeco Ryans. He was asked about whether he did consider sitting Stroud down in this nightmare first half.
No, CJ's our guy. I believe that he could come back out in the second half and flip it. I believe that he could play better. And he did that in the second half. He did play better. We had some positive drives there in the second half, because I believe that he would do that, and he did that. And as I always tell our guys at halftime, it doesn't matter what happened in the first half. You have to flush it, remove it, and you just have to go out and finish the right way. And I told you, we've been there before. We've been in situations much more dire than this, and we were able to bounce back. So, in my mind, there's no doubt in my mind that we would be able to overcome that.
In fairness to Stroud, Nico Collins is out with a concussion in this game. Dalton Schultz starts this game 2 for 47 and 2 targets, and then goes out with a calf injury. The second string tight end also goes out. This is an offense. The backfield, we've talked about Woody Marks and Nick Chubb. They played well last week, and they kind of squeezed every drop that they could out of that running game. But that's not a dynamic running attack. He didn't have a big-time team around him, but Stroud did take the blame afterwards.
No, I look back and I just feel like I let people down, and not happy with that, and it hurts, and I'm not naive to it. I didn't play my best this year, but I'm gonna respond. I'm gonna keep my chest up, my chin up high, and I'm gonna just keep battling for just our team doing great. Our defense getting stops, and I just being careless with the football. I gotta get that fixed.
So 2 things. Remember, the narrative going into this season was Bobby Slowick was forced out as offensive coordinator, and he might get one of these bigger offensive coordinator jobs. He's doing the rounds and interviews now. But a lot of this was about Stroud getting more agency in the offense and being able to call things that suited his comfort level more. And I do wonder, where that sits at this point. Is this something that the Texans want to continue to move forward with? But the second thing, you mentioned Aikman, and at the end of the game, he also just dropped that there's a major problem why Stroud isn't developing and it needs to be fixed, and then he just didn't say what it was. You're like the shadow GM.
Because he works for another team now, I guess he can.
Yeah, it's just you're the shadow GM of the Dolphins, I guess. Yeah. And so you're just going to be I know exactly why he's bad, but I'm not going to tell everyone, even though it's my job to tell everyone.
Is that how you heard that? He said something along the lines of Stroud has been chasing his rookie season for 2 years now, and the development hasn't happened, and the Texans need to find out. Is it the same comment you're referring to, or is there something else he said?
Okay, so it's CJ Stroud has been chasing his rookie success for the last 2 years. He's not been the same player. We've not seen the development from him. There's a reason for that, and it has to be addressed. What's the fucking reason?
He's like, let's cut to break.
Yeah, just say it. Like, all right. And then everyone gets on me why I don't like that announcing team. Like they're
I don't know, man. What are you saying? You're saying he does know and he's just holding it from the audience?
If he's saying there's a reason for it, then tell me what it is. Otherwise, you're just Buck and Aikman behind the rope, and we're all plebes, like saying thank you for whatever you're going to give us. Yes, okay.
I love Connor.
Yeah,
I love you, Connor.
Love you.
Connor got there somehow.
Patriots again. They're hard to hate this team. I see all those Patriots fans in the stands, and that does still rile me up. Like seeing all those like New England bros, and they all look like kind of exactly the same, and it just, it burns me up. But that's something I have to deal with. But the team itself, Drake May is a great young player. He fumbles too much. He's up to 14 fumbles this year, by far the most in the NFL. But he's a great young player, never says the wrong thing. And like I said, Vrabel has this team locked in. Here's what he had to say afterwards.
Everybody's stepping up. We're using everybody. Everybody's making plays. Everybody's helping us win. I'm excited for these guys, but they're also they're not satisfied, and I can tell that.
Is that
like my nephew Owen went to this game with some friends, and he lives in New Hampshire, and they drove up. And like, I think it kind of mirrors the team. He's younger. Like, this Patriots team doesn't remember or care about that Patriots team that caused so much national havoc for the rest of us observers. I just think they're different. They're new. It's like I don't feel any of them are have been around long enough to really despise. They haven't put an arrow into anyone in a deep nature. I mean, the Texans fans don't love them today, but like it's a new team, even though it still feels like we're watching remnants of like a dark empire rising again.
Except for Joey and Gloucester, who is very annoying in the front row. Connor, your take.
I just wanted to say that was the first time Vrabel opened the Gatorade. I've never seen a coach. We talked about this a few weeks ago, how there's like cold drinks always at the podium and no one drinks them. He cracked that sucker open.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. You know who else?
I'm sure he's cracked a few other bottles open by now.
Exactly. By the way, you know who else is cracking some skulls? Cardi B, one of the many lovers of Stephon Diggs, who quote tweeted ESPN, I guess all their experts, including us, including Connor, who's an absolute disaster in the locks right now.
Wait, I'm involved in this?
I think this is toward you as well. Here is Cardi B after the Patriots win.
What are you talking about? Nothing! Nothing!
That's to you, Connor. After you take another dirt nap in the picks, 6 in a row, make it 7 in a row because you just went back to the future and ruined your life. What a collapse, Orr. This is like the 78 Red Sox.
What's happened, Connor? Explain.
I feel like Todd Bowles. What a few weeks for me. Cardi B, I'm sorry. But guess what? I'm going to pick against the fucking Patriots again next week. So here we go, and let's roll.
This is it. I'm a great guy. I'm actually a great guy.
You're pre-picking the Broncos.
I mean, at this point, this was like a classic old ATN bit, the one that led to Keep Pounding with me and Wes. I picked against the Panthers every week of their 15-1 season that Cam Newton went to the Super Bowl. And then famously, when they were in the Super Bowl, I picked them to win by 35 points, and then they lost. And Gil Brandt came up to me, God rest his soul, and he was like, Connor, what you're doing is just not he's just like, that's not responsible. And
Gil got to the stage in life later in his later years where he suffered no fools and didn't care what he said to people.
Am I the only one who's surprised that Gil Brandt was tracking Connor's weekly Carolina Panthers picks, though? I feel like
a little bit. You know who else caught a stray in addition to Connor and anyone that picked against the Patriots, myself included this week? Charlie Batch caught a stray. Remember Chaz Batch?
Yes. Oh, wow.
Someone on
Steelers.
Twitter tweeted, CJ Stroud has the best defense in the world and has regressed to Charlie Batch, to which the former Steelers and Lions backup quarterback replied, how'd I catch a stray in this?
He had to be searching his name on Twitter. Like, how else does that come up?
Which
Like,
you're known to do as well, Connor. We know
Yes. Yep. Control F, baby.
that. All right. If you are watching on YouTube, we're going to keep rolling. If you're listening to the audio show, we're going to take a break. So stay right there, and we'll hit the final game of Divisional Weekend.
Why are more women than ever choosing Natural Cycles? The hormone-free, side-effect-free way to take control of your fertility. Natural Cycles is a birth control app that uses your temperature to find your fertile window. It is more than a basic cycle tracking app. Natural Cycles is the only FDA-cleared and CE-marked birth control app and has helped millions prevent and plan for pregnancy naturally. Save 15% when you sign up today with code RADIO15. Learn more at naturalcycles.com.
Hi, this is Jill Schlesinger, CBS News business analyst, certified financial planner, and the host of the Jill on Money podcast. With the new year upon us, there's no better time to take control of your financial life. And the Jill on Money podcast is here to help. It's your questions that make it possible for me to provide unconventional and, I hope, entertaining insights on your money and, more importantly, on your life. Follow and listen to Jill on Money wherever you get your podcasts.
Ready to level up? Chumba Casino is your playbook to fun. It's free to play with no purchase necessary. Enjoy hundreds of online social games like blackjack, slots, and solitaire anytime, anywhere with fresh releases every week. Whether you're at home or on the go, let Chumba Casino bring the excitement to you. Plus, get free daily login bonuses and a free welcome bonus. Join now for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. Play Chumba Casino today. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. T&Cs apply.
And we roll on. Let's head to Seattle for the one bloodbath of Divisional Round Weekend.
Shaheed at his own 5, across the 10, 15, 20. Cut straight upfield, has a gap, across the 40, midfield 50. Try to trip him, don't get him. Flag is down. Shaheed to the end zone. Holy catfish! Open the game with a 95-yard touchdown Seahawks.
You got to give the Seahawks the Ninja Gaiden theme, because when you open the game against your hated rival, Rashid Shaheed, one of several incredible pickups by John Schneider to turn this Seahawks team into a juggernaut. He takes that kickoff to the house, starting a route that ends 41-6. Dirt nap for the Niners. Turn this up in my headphones. The Seahawks are a giant. Let the beat drop right about now. Yes, Sam Darnold battling that oblique, threw a touchdown pass, but just needed to throw 17 passes before checking out early in the fourth quarter. So a fundamentally perfect game for the Seahawks, who now host another rival, the Rams. They'll have a chance, Ceci, to vanquish both of their NFC West foes on the road to Super Bowl 60. What a showing by the Seahawks, and Ninja Gaiden, awesome game on the old NES. Ninja Gaiden 2, arguably better. The old Under Siege 2 parallel. Okay, Mark.
It was an incredible showing. And I know that, like, it's so Mark just wants blowouts. Like, nope, I like what we saw over these last 2 weekends, where it's a lot of competitive, fierce, wild affairs that go down to the end. But I like a one game in there that drops a massive hammer. I thought this was a huge story inside the division and inside the NFC that Mike Macdonald has consistently solved the Shanahan offense over and over. It's like you're thinking one of these games will be different, and this Niners team is like the little train that could, and it's like not this time and not this week. And I thought Seattle's defense did such a great job of taking away explosive plays from the Niners. And they were obviously depleted. There's no George Kittle. You're missing guys left and right. But just this defense in general and what they built over the last couple of years under John Schneider. I mean, guys like DeMarcus Lawrence, Cooper Kupp, Sam Darnold, and we mentioned Rashid Shaheed. These guys came in on low-level trades for the most part or affordable deals, and they are huge parts of a Seahawks team that is totally cohesive and put the nails into the Niners last night. It was a very impressive showing. And I don't know how that stops. I don't know how you stop that train.
And also put the key into Sessler's lock. What a man! Speaking of men, hit that national anthem and just get in tight on Sessler's face.
Hold on. I want to
hand over your heart, Sessler. Take us home.
I want to say something because,
wait, let this man finish. Jim Corneliuson. USA, USA. The S stands for Sessy. Locks him up 14 points.
When
and I'm proud to be an American.
yeah, now it all makes sense.
I know I'm free.
It's not Americana to me at all. It's just pure football and gambling. But when the Rashid Shaheed touchdown happened right out of the gate, I kind of just thought if it's one of those nights, just if you're going to go do this and don't take any mercy on a division opponent, right? Because you're not going to see them again until deep September or something. Go handle your business and show them who you are for the rest of the offseason and change the mentality of this rivalry. And they did. And it kept getting to the point where I don't know if the Niners come back and they score 10 points, I'm not going to get my lock. But then it just got to a point where at the fourth quarter, I just left and I left my apartment and watched it on a distant television in a restaurant. I was I'm loving this.
Yeah,
I'm absolutely loving it.
Me and my 9-year-old Harrison were alone at the house, and by the end of the third quarter, I was like, "Hey, I think it's time. You want to watch The Last Dance and teach her some Michael Jordan lore." So that's how we ended this game because it was that much of a blowout. Here's Mike Macdonald giving a speech while Harrison and I were learning about Scottie Pippen's terrible contract that he signed early in his career.
Hey, man, same time next week? Man, look, it's funny. It's we're celebrating, but it's we're on to the next one. We're on to the freaking next one. Okay? It's on to the next one. I'll tell you what, though. Understand why we won the game. You stacked plays. It started with a 95-yard. Let's keep going to work, man. Mob on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Here's what Jackson Smith and Jigba said after the game. We're the real deal. I believe it's our culture, what we built from the ground up. We've got a great mix of young players and veteran players. We built this thing, and we want to take care of it. We want to protect it, and we know what's at stake. Spicy. This team's ready. This will be a hard team to pick against the rest of the way. Let's be real.
Mike Macdonald has not given up a second half point in his last 3 games as either a head coach or a play calling DC in the playoffs. That's bonkers. That's really hard to do. And, some of the opponents that he's playing, it's ridiculous. And this is a guy that a lot of people thought wasn't ready to become a head coach or may never be. He just didn't have that typical, whatever you want to call it. And he has just mastered all of it, the emotional aspect of it, the schematic aspect of it. He's the guy on the heater right now, and he's changing the way that teams are looking at head coaches in this cycle.
Yeah, to your point about how defense is starting to get the upper hand in the league again. Here is Trent Williams after the game, and the Niners. we talked about the Greek tragedy of the Bills, right? And the 49ers once again turned back at the gates. Trent Williams is getting closer to 40 years old. The core of this team is not getting any younger. And yet after this game, I don't think anybody felt like, man, this is another year where the 49ers, have tons of regrets. This team just got broken down by injuries and crushed in every single way. And Trent Williams spoke on that after the game.
Obviously, nobody thought we would even be here, let alone thought we would win this game. So, at the end of the day, we're playing with house's money when you get to this point. You're playing with who we played with.
I do think that that's well said in the sense that, a week ago, we learned that the Niners simply don't care about the facts of what happens to the roster. They're going to fight through it. And that's always going to be the mark of a Shanahan team in San Francisco. And I leave the season feeling like they overachieved. And he's almost I know there's 18 coaches of the year and it doesn't even mean anything at this point. But what did he do that anyone else could have done? I think that Shanahan showed me more this season than any other. And they were just broken in this game physically by the end. You're down to one tight end,
Yeah, they maxed out, and we talked about it last week, having to cook up that great special, trick play to beat the Eagles, an Eagles team that was dying to go home, that was so broken itself, and that's what you needed to get by Philly. There was just nothing left, and that kickoff, the last thing, Connor, that could happen to this team was what happened. Give up a 95 kickoff return, and I would imagine, even if they won't admit it, I think everybody knew where the game was headed 12 seconds into the game. That was just about as telling a play as you'll see all year.
And, to your guys' point, too, right, there is an age aspect of it. Seattle is capitalizing on a lot of young talent, a lot of young energy. The 49ers are just hoping that Trent Williams stays healthy every year and then not drafting offensive linemen to try to supplant him or replace him. They're hoping that George Kittle stays healthy every year, and I think it was, one tight end in the third round over, the last 4 years. Whereas the Eagles, Kelsey's retiring, you have him handpick his selector, you get somebody in the pipeline. I'm not saying it's a flawless process, but I think that there's part of a reason why the 49ers are here. They're just so dependent on a couple of Shanahan guys to get them over the hump. And of course these guys are going to stop being healthy at some point. They're old, and playing football is really hard.
Yeah. And Darnold, it really worked out for the best, obviously, where they didn't need him to play a rugged game where they take it down to the wire. But keep an eye on that. We talked about it. We learned as we were taping the preview show that he had suffered the oblique injury, and then it turned out he didn't even throw leading up to that game. Didn't warm up with the players early on Saturday. Survived that game. It's the one thing that Mark, that jumps out to me, what will happen against a Rams team that's going to be game and ready with a great fierce pass rush that's not broken like the 49ers were. Does Darnold survive 4 quarters of a true playoff feeling game? Other than that, the Seahawks have to be incredibly thrilled about it. And I just want to share something from Michael Shondugar, our buddy, who wrote over on the Athletic to the point about Schneider. All 3 Seattle turnovers were forced by players recently acquired outside of the draft. All-pro linebacker Ernest Jones, acquired for a 4th-round pick in October of last year, forced a fumble in the first half and had an interception in the second. Pro Bowl outside linebacker DeMarcus Lawrence signed in free agency, forced a fumble in the 4th quarter. And then, of course, Shaheed, who was picked up for a 4th and 5th-round pick earlier this season from the Saints. He returns the opening kickoff for the touchdown that set the whole game in motion. So,
yeah, and I think that's
bravo.
That's the difference between, 2/3 of the league that's flipping GMs every 2 years, and they're comfortable allowing John Schneider to go through a bit of a down period of valley, and then rebuild a team like this. And who's more skilled to do it, and who's seen it done in more different ways than John Schneider. And one quick thing on Darnold, he didn't look particularly in pain to me. He didn't look particularly healthy either, but that throw that he made to Jackson Smith and Jigba, the touchdown on the run, was a pinpoint laser.
Tore it all, baby.
If he can do that, then they're going to be okay. But I do think it's fair to wonder, inside when the drugs wear off, where is his body? Yeah. We do not know.
The most danger he was in on Saturday is when they put the needle, the 8-inch needle into his ribs and was make sure you don't hit my lung, bitch. That was
right,
the greatest
like a Tyrod
danger.
Taylor scenario.
Yeah. Exactly.
Poor Tyrod.
All right. That's it. That's Divisional Round weekend. Want to throw up the bracket, Justin? Take a look at it as we are now down to the NFL's Final Four. It will be, yes, the Seattle Seahawks hosting the Los Angeles Rams and the Denver Broncos with Jarrett Stidham hosting the upstart New England Patriots. And, of course, we'll have it covered next week. Before we go, let's check in over in the chat. We have some over 1,000 people in the chat and a lot of super chats in here. Like, for instance, Connor Jr. Nugget, can we get a statement from Conor Orr regarding whether or not his mother still lights candles and prays for Sean Payton's downfall? Only explanation for the freak Nick's injury.
I told her about this and how she's become a little bit of a discussion point on the podcast lately, and she said, "Please leave me out of this." So
this is another woman in your life that does not listen to the show.
As a follow-up from Ty Loveland, rule change suggestion: anytime Connor locks up a Sean Payton coach team, it counts as 3 wins. Connor's going to need that to still be relevant in this competition. Scattaboo's good leg. Change. Need a list of NFL's Tiffany franchises, Dan. I will get right to work on that for you. Let's see. K-Lab 49, representing one of the 41 female fans, 41 strong. Been listening for years and love the show. You're all the best. P.S. I thought Justin's Michael Caine impression was pretty good.
Well, we've got women paying us to do the show now. She just dropped $9.99 on us, so I love that dynamic.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Nick W., Seahawks will destroy the Rams. Tim Wallman, OF, you're going to make me heed. Gross. But you know what, Tim? Shout out for the super chat. We love you guys. We really do. And we are so thankful that the hedonists have our back and support us on both sides of the Atlantic. We'll be back on Tuesday, and we're going to give you a rundown. We know that Kevin Stefanski, good weekend for Ceci, by the way, dodging that bullet. Stefanski goes to the Falcons. Not the Ravens.
What bullet did I dodge? We gave away a good coach. Is that the bullet?
No, let's count your blessings. He could have ended up on the damn Ravens or the Steelers.
All right. From that point of view, I'll embrace the concept. But
so we'll talk about that. Well, I think the John Harbaugh Giants press conference is on Tuesday. We'll get reactions off that. Anything else that's going on, that's it. Ceci, any final thoughts to you after your ballsy lock of the Seahawks? Takeaways on Divisional Round weekend 26.
I said it was about valor. I was sort of backed into a corner, so I tried to advertise it that way, and then it came out making me look better than I actually felt about myself. So
sure.
Sell yourself publicly in a way that just takes it to the top. And no matter what, you can say, I went for like the highest mark humanly achievable. And if it works like it did this weekend, everyone is just reaching out saying, I aim to be you. And I'm like, I aim to be what I sold myself as, but I'm not.
Hit the music, Justin. That? History, I believe, they say, Mark, is written by the victors.
That's right.
And I'll add to that, history also tends to forget the details of things. So let's just let it stand. Again, thank you to everybody jumping on live with us Sunday night. Connor, have a good slumber deep in the New Jersey woods. Mark, I imagine your night's just beginning, so good luck in Hollywood.
Is it night? I don't even know yet.
Look over your shoulder. And Mystic Pickle, anything else to add? All right, that sounds good. Heed the call.
January doesn't need a reset. It needs better rituals. And for me, that starts with Primally Pure. With greenwashing everywhere, finding personal care you can truly trust feels rare. Primally Pure uses real, raw ingredients to create non-toxic essentials that support your skin day after day. From aluminum-free deodorant to deeply nourishing body care, their formulas are designed to work with your body, not against it. And yes, a natural deodorant that actually works and holds up even when you need it most. From skin and body to baby, hair, and home, Primally Pure blends animal-based and plant-powered ingredients to support skin health the way nature intended. Simple, effective, and time-tested. This isn't about becoming someone new. It's about returning to what works.